Thanks for joining us at Right On Replicas, where we bring you the best scale model kit reviews on the planet.
This review covers the Time Machine Mark III from Back to the Future 3 movie. It's a 125 scale Polar Lights model kit from round 2, and it's a skill level 2 kit. Even though it's a snap kit, it still requires paint. The model includes about 60 pieces molded in gray, clear, and chrome, brushed steel finish body, and metal axles. It's kind of a re-release, being pretty much the same as kit number 925, but with updated time circuits and some 1955 tires. Well, it's a simple kit to build, but it can be really effectively enhanced with some scratch building and some detail painting. So there's also a lot of references on the internet that you can take a look at and download, for example, the gauges, etc. So overall, even though it's a simple kit, it could be a real challenge. It comes with 2 engines, just as all the kits did, and the overall dimensions are 7 inches in length, 3 inches wide, and 2¼ inches high. The only decals for this kit are the license plate tags, and they come in both water slide and sticker versions, so you get to choose which one you want to use for your application. For most of the construction, I use Model Master liquid cement and sometimes a slow setting tube glue, but other adhesives are used too for strength like super glue and white glue for clear parts. Mostly the paints are Tamiya acrylic bottle paints that are shot through an airbrush, or rattle can paints that can be used for things like primers. Pull out these parts as construction begins with the dashboard. There's no kit supplied decals for the dashboard, but it really begs for some, so I went out to the internet and googled DeLorean Back to the Future dash instruments, and there they were. So I printed them out with a color printer, put a piece of clear gloss tape over them, and then trimmed them to fit and glued them on with some white glue to the dashboard and panels. Paint the dashboard gray, the wheel black, and the clock gold, and the components up on the dash are black, white, and the 2 red ones behind the clock there. And then their wires are, just multiple colors. So add the instrument panel, the time circuits, and the plutonium gauge decals if you made them, or paint those details onto the dash best you can, and install the wheel and add the clock. The interior is assembled in steps, and all of the parts should be painted gray, and then the details added. The rear panel on the interior tub is flat black, however. The time controller on the center console is painted silver and black on the shifter, and then add some color to resemble wires on the time controller there, and the seats can be added into place now. Pull out the back panel for detailing, and there are a lot of online resources for photos, but the actual part is pretty simplified. So I painted the control boxes behind the passenger seat black with some gold highlights, and the flux capacitor is white with a black case. The circuit board behind the driver's seat is silver. Add some gold to the small part beside that, and some silver to the canisters. And note the detail it as you see fit, because whatever your reference show, it's an imaginary, so you really get to have a ball with this one. After they dry, you can install the interior parts, put the dash into place there, and then install the rear panel and snap the door panels to the dash floor and rear panel. To have a little fun and add a little detail, I found a photo online that replicated the newspaper in the movie that Marty and Doc had, so I sized it as needed and printed it out on some regular paper, and then I'll just use some white glue to glue it onto the seat for a little emphasis. Now we can detail the rear panel with some paint and finish. There's a lot of references out there, but I did a simplified version with different shades of silver, some red, blue, and green for some of the items there. And then the 2 items, however, on the left, on the passenger side, those are green. Assemble them and add them into place. We'll paint the chassis pan flat black with the motor and transmission a steel color. You can highlight any of the features that you see here for details, but in the movie most of the undercarriage was black for filming, and On the underside, before we do that though, on the underside there's the Polar Light script, which you can just wipe that off with some lacquer thinner, and use a hobby knife and some sandpaper to get rid of the Polar Light's logo there. Here's how I finished the underside, but you can, use your imagination for this one. Once that dries, flip the unit over and place the interior tub onto the chassis. While the body is already a proper stainless steel finish, there's a lot of details that need to be painted to make it look like the real car. The rear bumper is black and the rear panel is gray, and also black are the inner rear panels, the side moldings, and the lower side panels. The front nose panel is gray, and the front bumper, the spoiler, and the grille are black with a silver DMC logo. The wires on the sides are red and gray, and the cowl, wipers, and the mirror are black, and so is the window vent. Now get the windows and the roof console out of the kit, and there's a side window there that on the driver's side that has a small black molding, and the console is gray with black and silver highlights on the buttons and white on the sides. And then snap the window into place and add the console right after that. Now we'll mate the chassis to the body by starting the chassis pan into the body at the rear end at about a 45-degree angle, then kind of spread the sides apart a little bit and shoehorn the chassis down into the body. It'll snap firmly into place. Now grab the rear wire assembly set, and the brake lights are supposed to be black with red lenses and white backup lenses. So paint the framework black, and the lens areas in the middle there will be stoplight red with the inward lenses white. And then the framework is gray on the wire assembly, and the lower connectors are blue-gray, the wires are red, and the upper connectors are also blue-gray with some silver and black components. Now install the tail lights, and you can add the license plate too. Snap the lower panel into place and snap the top panel into the roof, and then add each side panel, lining up the tabs of the top and bottom to the ones that are already there. Now get out the parts for the front wiring harness and headlights. Install the side parts to the wire panel, and then install the headlights, and use some Elmer's white glue to put a film on the lights for a lens appearance. Now paint the wire panel gray with blue-gray connectors on the ends, and the wires that are on the added parts are black. Now you can install the front wire panel to the car. Get the parts out for the rear exhaust units. The main units and louvers are painted flat black, so you install the louvers into place, and then you can snap the whole unit onto the rear panel. And then the lines are painted as steel, and they run from the outside of the exhaust to the back panel in the car. Now you choose between the plutonium intake that includes the lightning rod conversion or the Mr. Fusion intake. For the Mark III time machine, we'll use the Mr. Fusion. Paint the base aluminum with the center mount black and the Mr. Fusion unit white. The lines are steel, and to install Mr. Fusion intake, just put it in between the area of the exhaust, and then one line runs from the base of the intake to the back panel in the car, and the other line is a jumper from each side of the parts, so that goes on the intake and sits in between. The tire assemblies next, and paint the rims red, and the tires can be given a rough used look by rolling the tread on some fine sandpaper. Then insert a rim into a tire with the white walls out and add the chrome hubcap. Insert an axle to the back of one rim, slide it into the chassis, and then add a rim to the other side to install the wheels. Do both sets. The replacement time circuit is the other unique part for this kit in the final stage of car assembly. And there's many examples for details on the internet, but I simplified it to match the rest of the car. The box is wood tone with brown leather straps. The components are painted in various tones of gray, silver, red, black, and steel. Now, do whatever you feel comfortable with, and you really can't do it wrong. Then install the container into the unit and add the hoses to it. There's a piece of double-sided tape that was in the decal package, so stick one side to the bottom of the unit and attach it in place in the center of the hood. You won't have many parts left, just the plutonium intake and the decals or stickers that are left over. Aside from the stunning good looks of this model, which is really set off by those 50s wheels and hubcaps, I think that this is what we would call a conversion kit, where a moderate builder could build this kit easily by itself and then start expressing himself by detailing and using some paint to really finish that off. Now, a good contest modeler could also take this even further, with some electronic circuits and wires and things of that nature. But the construction is simple. It's a curbside kit with a full interior, so it all snaps together and everything was fairly straight and went together well. So I think when you get done with this kit, you're going to have a real showroom model there for your display that people will take notice of. So don't be afraid to go ahead and put this one through your paces and get her on that display shelf for your very own. We hope you like this premium quality step-by-step review, and so that you don't miss any more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. But you can find us on Facebook and also at our website, www.rightonreplicas.com. Thanks!